Hey guys, it's Zach coming at you with another one of these videos here on the Cope Environmental YouTube page. Today we're going to be taking a look at how Cope makes their own biodiesel. So,
hello, again my name is Jeremy Mussoni. I'm the Facilities and Grounds Director here at the Cope Environmental Center. And as Zach mentioned, we do make our own biodiesel here, utilized in our program vehicle, which is a Jetta TDI, and our mowers and our tractors. So gets a lot of work done for us. So basically what I'll do is I'll just kind of go through the process with you, not actually making a batch today, but can definitely kind of work you through the steps and how we make our diesel. Basically it starts with the oil collection. I currently have 4 different sites here in Richmond that I collect oil from. Mainly consists of canola and soy oil. Really any sort of fryer grease will do, though. It doesn't necessarily have to be those two, but that is the 4 sources that I collect from. That is what they cook with. So and those 4 sources then provide basically me with enough oil or fuel to get through what we need to utilize the fuel for. So again, collection process consists of either the businesses graciously putting them back in the used fryer grease back in the jugs for me, which makes it really convenient. I also utilize a pumping method if I have to. I do have one site that I pump grease out of there. You see the big grease dumpsters in the back of restaurants. Yeah. So, and then that gets housed in these containers. After running them through a series of these filters here, starting at 600 microns, going all the way down to 75 microns. It's a 3 phase process. The oil then gets put into the used fryer grease, gets put into this preheating drum. Preheat the oil to about between 130 and 140 degrees, and that basically just kind of gets all the fatty acids moving around. One of the most important steps in making biodiesel is to get an accurate reading on the amount of fatty acids in that, so you know how much lye or sodium hydroxide to add for in terms of catalyst. If everything settles, then you can get different readings at different levels. So the heating process basically just kind of gets everything moving around.
right.
So once I've preheated, in this bin, basically I have a siphon pump here. This is our actual processor. This is a Fuelmeister processor. There's a lot of different models and types. Went with the Fuelmeister because it's very user-friendly, very easy to use. Everything's very well laid out, very well mapped in terms of directions, and it's just been a great product. I'm very pleased with it. But as far as pumping it in, basically siphon pump goes on this hose here, and with the built-in siphon pump, then it gets pumped in. I make 40 gallons per batch. This, which is the max capacity on this actual processor. You can get separate drums if you want to make more. It's basically a 1-to-1 ratio in terms of fryer grease to biodiesel.
Okay.
For every gallon of fryer grease you get, you're going to get a gallon of biodiesel. After being pumped into here, basically I'll let it run for about 10 minutes, just kind of homogenize it. Yeah, say that fast 3 times. Again, just to get everything flowing, everything mixing, because I want an accurate reading. Because after that point, then what I'll do is I'll take a sample off and run my titration test. And the titration test basically is a pH test of the waste fryer grease. What you want to do is, depending on, you want to find out how much fatty acids are in that fryer grease, because that is, again, how much lye or that catalyst that you're going to use. I have two catalysts that I use for making biodiesel. One is methanol, and the other, again, is sodium hydroxide or lye. The sodium hydroxide basically strips the fatty acids out of the waste veggie oil, and the methanol then gives it that combustion that it needs to be utilized as a fuel. The titration test is actually pretty simple. And again, Fuelmeister has set it up very nicely and very simplistically, so that basically what I do is run it through a series of solutions. And again, like any pH test, like for a pool or something, that you're looking for a certain color. And that's what I'm doing. I'm looking for a pinkish color. When I get that pinkish color, I use this chart here from the numbers on this pipette. Basically, I just look on this number, and it'll tell me what the amount of lye that I need to use. Okay. That's pretty much it in a nutshell in terms of the titration test. Again, one of the most important factors of making biodiesel is making sure that that is accurate. You add too much lye, you're going to get really soapy fuel. Yeah. Don't add enough, you're not going to get the effect that you're looking for, the transesterification effect of stripping of the acids. So, very important step, one of the most important steps. After I know how much lye I need to use, I will measure that lye out using this scale. And then basically the methanol, which is about a 5-to-1 ratio. So I make 40 gallons, so that's 8 gallons of methanol per batch. And then the amount of lye usually ranges with the oil. I've been doing this for 2 years now, so I'm pretty familiar with the type of oil that's being used at the places I collect. So I know that it ranges anywhere from 900 to 1,100 grams of lye. So it's a very small amount in portions of what we're making. The methanol then gets directly injected into the waste veggie oil, and along with the lye. Basically after that, again, it's that transesterification process. Those mix for about an hour, those two catalysts and the waste veggie oil, and then what you do is you basically get a byproduct, one of the two byproducts from biodiesel, and that is glycerol. Okay. This is the effect that happens after about a 1 hour process, and then what I do after that is I wait. I try to get about 6 or so gallons of this out for each batch of glycerol. This can be used, that byproduct can be used for a lot of different things. I soak wood in it out here, make door frame logs. It works great in trash furnaces. There's a lot of uses for that byproduct. So after I have emptied out all of that, basically I do a washing process. The washing process will then get any excess residuals or lye out of the fuel. And I know these aren't the greatest samples here because they're so old, but I don't know if you can tell a difference. Unwashed, it's right on top, right. And washed. And basically it gives you a cleaner fuel. Okay. That process takes about 45 minutes, in which then you will get this effect. Basically, that's the second of the two byproducts, which is basically a crude soap. It's water and lye, any lye residual. So that also has a lot of different uses. I store it for just basically cleaning stuff with. It's a great cleaning solvent. Just a lot of different things that you can use that for. But after that process, then you have washed biodiesel. Okay. And the last step then is transferring it from this processor to one of that black barrel over there, and it's the drying process.
Okay.
The drying process, takes about 2 days the way I do it, and that's just about the way that I do it is just time and temperature.
Okay.
I put a bubbler down in the bottom, I heat it, and I run a fan over it. Basically, you're just wanting that water to evaporate out of there.
Okay.
There are processes that you can do. There's actually lids that you can buy for this that will decrease that time to 2 hours if you want. But the way that I make it, it's not necessary. So after that point, after it's dried, then it gets transferred to this final storage bin, and from there it becomes diesel fuel. Biodiesel can be utilized in anything that runs on number 1 or number 2 diesel, which is basic petrol diesel, farm grade diesel. Whether if it's vehicles, tractors, heaters, generators, anything that runs on diesel can be utilized for that. Some of the behind the scenes things that we're doing with this, not only running our equipment and saving money, based on last year's figures, we averaged about 96 cents a gallon on our diesel fuel. We saved over $700 by utilizing biodiesel. But some behind the scenes aspects, some long-term things that we would like to do with this is to actually create some sort of community involvement, educational components, stuff like that. Get hopefully other people, entities, organizations utilizing biodiesel, and have been in contact with some entities around the community. We'd also like to offer some sort of membership program for our members to utilize the biodiesel. Right now it's just a matter of storage, being able to store the biodiesel.